Yeah, I think the result was what we wanted. It was good to play in a tough game like that. I think we also learned a lot of good lessons. Like I don't think we started off the game with the energy plays and kind of the momentum that we needed. And I think hopefully we can learn from that in a win. It's always a little easier to learn during wins than losses.
Want to ask about Nate. Maybe not the best first half for him, and right out of half gets the steal, gets the dunk, and then goes for 16 in the second half. What was kind of the message to him at the break that maybe kind of supercharged him in the last 20?
I think that when the team doesn't start off well and we don't have those momentum plays, and we describe those. We're not just calling them that. Like there's very clear descriptions on what those look like to our guys, and he knows what he's got to do. Like it was great. Like he knew that they didn't have that. He did exactly what we needed. He got a steal. He got a dunk. He stared down the bench afterwards. Our bench has let us know, like, hey, we're here. We're ready to go. And I just love that energy from him.
I want to ask, too, about Sed. I mean, you guys score 52 points in the second half. He doesn't attempt a shot. What does that kind of say about the balance that, your leading scorer, or as Lawan just called you, your top guy, doesn't attempt a shot, and you guys still are able to put up 52 points?
I mean, first of all, I think it speaks to Sed's ability, right? You look at his plus minus, he's plus 28. He affected the game in other ways. He had 5 blocks. Like there's a ton of stuff that he was able to do without scoring. And now I hesitate to make any statements on like his shot selection or if we could have gotten more shots, because I feel like within our offense there's always more opportunity if you make better reads. So I'm going to go watch the film with him and see where maybe he missed some reads, or maybe we missed him as his teammates missed him. But we'll kind of figure that out as the season goes on, because he's a crazy efficient player. I do want him getting more shots than 3 shots.
He wants us to believe that his putback dunk was by design, is drawn up. Whether or not that's the truth, he does go for 14 and 16. I'm sorry, 16 and 14. What did you kind of make of his game overall today?
Another guy that took it to heart what we talked about at halftime, right? I didn't feel like our energy as a team was right, and he's someone that has the best ability. I mean, we have a couple guys that can really do this, but his motor can affect the game and breathe energy into our team. And I thought Lawan did that in the second half with his rebounding, with his hustle plays. He said, all right, they're not going to double the post, so I'll be able to score one-on-one in the post. And I thought he did a good job of just making simple plays on offense and affecting the game on defense.
To turn a slow start into a better rest of the game, what did you guys do differently on defense to kind of get that separation?
Our talk at halftime was more that if we're not going to execute like we're supposed to execute the game plan, there's no point in making adjustments. And I think our first step was to just make sure we're executing at a high level. And our guys stepped up and did that. Like it wasn't any secret sauce. It was all the players.
Coach, this is the first time we've seen ND in game. Kind of what impact-wise does he bring to the court that maybe Ethan and Dane don't necessarily bring as much? Yeah,
I mean I love the way he came in and impacted the game. He had a heck of a first game for us. He played more than I had him slotted in for sure. But what he gives us is like people talk about shooters spacing the floor and like how Ethan and Dane can pop and space the floor this way. Like what MD brings is a vertical lob threat that can space the floor with his rolling and rim running and posting up, and he really brings the defense in, which allows us, kind of similar to what we do with our cuts and our drives. Like he just does that with his presence, and I think that's something that we don't have.
Coach, 5 players in double figures, and obviously one of them wasn't Cedric. But I'm wondering though, like, is this what Coug fans have to expect? Is these runs of Watts has 8 points in a row, then it's Dane Erikstrup. I mean, is this what Coug fans should expect?
I think we're going to have a balanced attack. Like when you look at our stats the last few years, we've had 5 or 6 guys that were near double figures. And what's the word? Spurtability, I think is what they call it. Like Isaiah's got it, Cedric's got, all these guys have it. And you can kind of see some of that today where Isaiah gets hot and these guys get going on their own personal runs.
I know you're new to this border battle rivalry, but I'm wondering, is it worth it to keep these non-conference rivalry battles going?
100%. Like that's what the beauty of the new Pac-12 is going to be. It's one of the only regional conferences left that's at this level, and so I think it's the most valuable thing there is. Like we try to do as best we can with our scheduling. Like, we've got Gonzaga and Oregon State in the conference. We're playing UW. We're playing Eastern Washington. We didn't figure out a date with Seattle U, but I want to play the teams in the Northwest. I think that's great for college basketball. It's great for us. My grandpa went to Idaho, played football there, coached there. I heard a ton of stories from Craig Elo from back in the day when I was working with him at Eastern about, whoever lost that game had to walk home and all the crazy stories. So I just think it's beautiful that we're still playing these games, and there's some meaning to it.
You talked about the defense a little bit, but just getting to hold Idaho to 67 is a big improvement from the last 2 games, even though those have also been wins. What was that like, just preparing that for the week, and was the defense kind of a focus over the weekend? For
sure. I think that's been something, especially after like our first couple scrimmages, we really realized, and I think we knew it, but sometimes you got to fail a little bit as a team to learn. We just got to focus on that side of the ball. Like, offensively, we're going to score. We have a ton of guys that can do multiple things on that side. But we also have ability defensively, like with our versatility on the front line and on the wings. Like, we can do a lot. Nate is lightning quick. Marcus has come in the last 2 games and had big impacts defensively. Like, I'm just excited about our potential right now. And it's November. I don't know. It's early November right now, and we got a long ways to go, and we got a ton of room to grow.
Hey, Coach, just want to ask about the reunion tonight with Alex. Just what has that relationship been like the last few months, coaching 8 miles apart now?
Yeah, it's been great. I was able to meet over in Moscow and grab some food with him a few weeks ago. I guess it was a little longer than a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And just a great coach, great friend. Was able to work with him at Eastern Washington. And we had some really good staffs out there. We got Chris Victor, who's over at Seattle, Shantae at Portland. And so I learned a lot from those guys, and Alex is someone that really helped me early on in my career. He was an assistant when I was director of operations out there, and he's a heck of a coach and doing a good job with those guys.
Did your relationship with him give you any insight to tonight's game plan, or what was that like?
I think that we have some similar concepts, and I knew it was going to be competitive. We played our fair share of one-on-one back in the day, and we'd always get into it. So, I think he does such a good job of getting his guys to play hard and play connected, and they're going to be a tough out in the Big Sky.
You mentioned Marcus there. Gives you 2 threes in the first half. Seemed like kind of when the game was maybe stuck in the mud a little bit, he gave you a bit of a spark. Just what have you seen from him through these first 3 games as a true freshman, and kind of bringing you a little bit of that energy off the bench?
I think he's had a great mindset. Like, my thing when you're trying to create a role is you just got to go find one thing that when the head coach, man, we're missing this, I can look to Marcus to go do it. And so Marcus has been defensively. Like, hey, if we're missing defense, I know that he's going to be solid on that end. And then once you get that trust in one area, you can show the rest of your game. And so that's kind of what happened. He didn't score before tonight, I don't think. This is his first buckets, right? And so he showed that we can have confidence in him and trust in him the first 2 games with his defense. And now he can show all the other stuff he can do because he's a heck of a player. He's a great passer. He can shoot it. He can get downhill. But what he did was he embraced that role initially.
Your bench gives you 27 points, 11 rebounds, 0 turnovers. How important is that to have guys that can spell the starters and not just be a complete drop-off, have guys that can come in and be as efficient as some of your starters?
I think that's super important. Like, we have to have that second wave off the bench, and I think we're taking steps in that direction. I think we had, Zay might have been our only real production the last few games offensively, at least. And so to see Marcus hit some threes, to see Indy come off the bench and do what he did, was really, really good sign.
I feel like this is a good time to introduce this. Last year there was a tradition. After every win, I'd ask Coach Smith if it was Modelo time. That was his drink of choice. What is your go-to meal, drink after the game? Jim said it was a Big Mac, but I want to hear it from you.
I didn't love the post-game meal after the last game, so I did hit McDonald's and get a Big Mac. Yeah. Oh man, that's a good question. Honestly, it's whatever our assistants go bring back from where I think they're going to Rosars right now. So we'll see what they pick up for us. I wasn't ready for that one. I like it.
Coach, I got to ask you about you guys are going on the road to play Iowa on Friday. What do you expect going to the Big Ten country, and what's that going to be like, I guess?
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a challenge. I haven't watched enough of them this season. Like I've been really trying to dial in one game at a time. But I watched some of their stuff preseason, and they're very well coached. They're tough. They're physical. It's going to be a great challenge for us. And for us, this is what we want. We want to go to get tested in the preseason, see where we're at. We feel like we have a team that can go to the NCAA tournament. Well, this is probably an NCAA tournament team we're going to go play. So let's go face the challenge.
You mentioned the defense from Nate and him kind of giving you a look as he got the steal to open the second half. I guess you were looking at him at that point and you noticed that, but I'm also curious just like how, I guess kind of where you want to see him improve on defense, and for him to get that locked in, kind of what does that tell you about him?
Yeah, I think, he's very similar to a lot of our players where they have these stretches where they can be unbelievable and really impact the game defensively, and it's just more about that consistency. And I think, all these guys have had more of an offensive identity. You look at his year at Lamar, the last time he really played significant minutes was like he was offensive identity. You go look at our Eastern guys, a lot of them had that came here. Those four have more of an offensive identity. And so trying to get them to understand, like, it's not just an offensive game, it's a two-way game, and the guys have bought into that. Like, they're really just competitors. And so, like, whatever we make important, they've bought into that. And I think they're starting to see the importance of it. And Nate especially has a chance to be the head of the snake and really get us going defensively. And so hopefully we get some more of that.